Why do so many black men have a fetish about a big ass? First, many men out there love big butts. It's not just a black guy thing. Second, I say most black guys like big butts are generally thicker women, because that was the shape majority of the women had when the guy was growing up. I don't think the op and the responders are necessarily in the same wavelength grh. Like everyone likes a nicely shaped ass. That's not a racial thing in any way. But for some reason I have noticed in general black guys will also prefer fatter asses and women in general than other races. Not even trying to be mean, but I work in the hospitality industry, i.e. bars, clubs, etc. And you can see a difference in the sizes different races will take out. It's not just black men. Source: Brown Man. It's really simple. They like big butts and they cannot lie. As other brothers can't deny that when a girl walks in with an itty-bitty waist and a round thing in their face, they get sprung. It's possible. Just throwing this out as an idea. It could be a side benefit of the lack of representation of black people in media. White people have overwhelmingly been told that thin white women are more sexy. Everyone from the random extras in music videos and ads to main protagonists all have one thing in common. If they are white and female, they are rail thin. And it's not just that. The slightly chubby white actresses are often depicted as being trashy, poor, or in some way undesirable. Although there certainly are rail-thin black women on TV, there are also a surprising amount of more normal weight and even fat black actresses who manage to exist without the message that they are not respectable or undesirable. Media hasn't told black men they should be embarrassed to find heavier women sexy, so they aren't ashamed of saying so. They've done studies. Black women tend to have the roundest butts. Most projection. Asians have the flattest butts. And Caucasians are in the middle. So it is likely related to that emo. Men's butts by race follow the same pattern. I wouldn't say that just black men like big asses. There are certainly a lot more black artists than white artists vocalizing how much they like big asses. But that doesn't mean there aren't the same amount of nerdy white boys in comic book shops lusting over big asses. It just means they're not telling everyone about it. I think, as a regular dude, not a scientist, that biologically, wide hips, big asses, and big tits trigger something subconsciously about fertility maybe. Gotta keep the human race alive and well. Our weird lizard brains can't explain it, but I think it's a biological thing. This of course is just my opinion, so take it with a big grain of salt. Our women just usually have more ass in proportion to other body parts of other races, so that's what we go for. Obviously not every girl, but there's a pattern. I'm not complaining at all. 1. It's not just black men. Point 2. Fetish feels like an overstatement. Let's go with preference. I personally think that being more shapely was accepted a lot more by the black community, which is why you might see it mentioned more in media and stuff. Especially in the 90s, where skinny was very in. But it's all just a matter of preference, not race. Maybe it has something to do with genetics, evolution? Because someone with a bigger booty is probably gonna have wider hips and have an easier time in childbirth. So it would make sense for that to be a component, since it helps our species procreate and stuff. Black men have a fetish about big asses because a certain percentage of men of all races have fetishes for big asses. Promise you it's not just black guys. Brother, I've loved big TNA since I had my sexual awakening watching Kanye West's Gold Digger music video. Back when I was like 10. Just something about the big and jiggly. Can't describe it. IDK, but as someone with a big butt I'm not complaining lol. Had I been born 10 years sooner I'd probably be insecure about it, but luckily no one RLLY cares. It's because of what they see when they're growing up. Women of African descent are prone to gain weight, develop muscles in the lower body compared to, for example, East Asians. I personally don't find that attractive because that's not what I grew up with. I don't think calling being attracted to big asses can be called a fetish, dude. That's borderline universal. But I do remember some talk about that body type being denigrated as vulgar by some of the older American imagery. They fertile. It's not just black men. Source: white lesbian. As someone who gets frequent inappropriate comments in public, I would like to point out one element of this. I think some of these men have less of a filter than others. It is much more common to hear a black man say, "damn," or something out loud versus anyone else. In my experience, I have also heard comments like that from black women who I assume were straight. They viewed it as complimentary even though it was rattling to have strangers just openly discuss my body. I don't think it's fetishization. Countless men of all kinds like curves. Talking about big butts openly is probably the main cultural difference, I guess. Childbearing hips. That's not what a fetish is.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epic Ericast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.